everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to learn a new opening. This opening is called the Italian, and there are multiple ways to play it, but I'm not going to teach you a way to memorize something and then use it on the game like the London system or the call. Those are just systems. They don't help you move in chess, like advance, like get better at it. You just memorize and play. That's not chess. You're going to learn today something that it's pretty basic, pretty easy to play. So just let's see. For example, let's go to the analysis board, and the Italian defense is with white, and you play e4. And if they play e5, you play knight f3. They normally play knight c6 and bishop c4. This is the start for the Italian defense, and black can go multiple ways. It goes bishop c4, and you can play here knight c3, d3. Wait, d3. C3 or the Italian gambit. I usually play d3. This is for starters, it's the best as you defend this pawn and you let your bishop come out to g5 in case you need it, and it's pretty easy to play. So I'm going to go over all the variants that can be played with d3. For example, they normally play knight f6, so you play, for example, castling. The order is not really important, and they play the castle. And now you have to decide: you want to play the closed defense, closed opening. You can play knight c3, which is the most basic one. And it basically goes like, for example, they do d6 and you just move your bishop to g5, and you're attacking I don't know how to call it, but basically they can't move this knight now. And you are menacing like this movement in d5, because right now if they do something like, for example, bishop to d7, you can play knight d5. And this doesn't mean you win a piece or anything. It's just it leaves the black in a very bad position. As for example, if they do, I don't know, a6. I'm just doing examples. You can take with bishop or knight. I would suggest eating with knight. They have to take with pawn because they would lose their queen, and then you just move your bishop to h6, and the plan goes like, first you move your knight, you need to put in f5, you move your queen to g4. Be careful with this bishop. Then you can move it here, you can do anything. This spot is a hot spot for a checkmate with your queen. Be careful with rook g8, it can attack you, but it's not much of a menace. Now going back, for example, going back here, they can do h6, so you can play, for example, with against h6, just bishop e3, and if they want to trade or not. If they don't want to trade, they just, for example, do this. Don't eat, because eating would be a bad choice, as they would take, and they would attack this column, and it would advance their developing. So if they go back, you have chances to also break the center, and because you have your bishop, it's much stronger, and you are controlling the center. If you break it, then they lose their central pawn, and you have the dominance in this game. So this is a pretty interesting idea. how to call it. I am not very good at this, but it's okay. So they could also do more aggressive variants. They could play d5, attacking you. That would be the most interesting thing, but because you have your knight on c3, it wouldn't work. It would be another stuff. And this is a more basic one. For example, if they copy you, they play the same as you, and you do this and they do this, well, that would be kind of an issue. So that's why I normally don't play it. You should always play when the bishop is in g4, h3, as in later in endgames it helps you avoid a checkmate on the last column, and etc. So that's much of it in this variant with knight c3. Now, what I would recommend for players that want to play later on after moving on with knight c3 is c3, so you can mobilize your bishop, your black bishop, and break the center and develop your rook and do all of those things, but is slightly like in a slightly elevated level. So with c3 it's easier. They can do a lot of things. They normally play d3. They can here you have to be careful because they can play d5. D5 is a variant I don't really I don't really I always take. It's like it's not the best for them, but like not taking you would lose pawn, so I just have to take. They take with knight. You don't usually trade your pieces, so then I just attack this pawn. It's weak, so they defend. And you're left with a more or less good position. You just have to develop your pieces, you have to attack, you have to expand. You have to be careful with this pawn, you have to be careful with stuff like that. Usually I would just play like bishop here, or I would just attack here. They would leave, for example, and then I would develop with other pieces, like attacking. You always need more space when you have the initiative. White always has the initiative, so you must not lose it at all. Never. And so moving on wait, with this variant where they play, or you play castle, they play castle and you play c3, they could play d6. So here there is a very interesting plan. It's more or less of a system. If you don't want to use too much tactic but still be uh, in that system, um, I recommend playing the closed Italian. If they played like this, don't worry. You just go and then you play rook e1, and you play with the plan of attacking in the right flank, attacking the king, the black king, and just move on. I don't know. They could play a6. You play knight f1. This is more or less the plan. For example, h6, then uh, knight g3, bishop g6, and you have the structure. It's very interesting as your knight can go now to 95, and their bishop would have to take it. You could also do knight h4, then knight f5, and the knight would be unstoppable there. You can attack there, or you can another if you don't want to attack a lot. You here have the option to break the center and dominate it. If they take, you just take, and you have the center. They have to leave, and it's a position you have to play. To advance in chess, you also have to do tactics. For example, in Lichess, there is puzzles. You have to train your puzzles. You have to do a lot of them to then like have a good tactic, so you don't hang pieces, or you can mate them and all of that stuff. So let's do a little review of what we've learned. So I just explained the basic variants of the Italian, which goes like this: e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. Here you play d3, knight f6, castle, castle for example, and you can either play knight b and knight c3 or c3. So let's review knight c3. Knight c3, they can play d6, which is the normal one. You can play bishop g5. If they play h6, that would not be a problem. Just play bishop h4. You do not take the knight because it's important that the knight can't move. So if you ate it, there would just be nothing to work with. And later on, for example, if they do try to do the same as you, if this is it, you have the advantage because you can do the movement first. So if you do the movement first, you kind of have the advantage. Or you could do crazy stuff. Here it would be interesting. I'm not saying it would be good, but it would be interesting to play g5, g4. It's pretty cool. But I don't know, just play what I told you with leaving their king defense horribly. So later on you can just add the queen and many other stuff. So let's go on with this. So yeah, if they play h6 so you can't do the bishop thing, just do bishop e3. If they take, as I've not explained, you just take, and now you can easily break the center here. Like, you don't even have to think it. Just break the center and you'll be alright. But just be careful, sometimes they do rook here, but that would not be good, as you can do knight h4 going here, and then this spot is really weak because the rook attacks it, the bishop attacks it, etc. Like, this is really interesting. At the start of the game, this is called the weak spot of the position. So we already reviewed knight c3. Again, the order in the Italian is not that important. You just have to understand the ideas of the movements. This idea is mainly to control this spot on d5. c3 is to do d4, and for example, if they do h6, you just try to trade the bishops. You do not eat if it's here. And there's also other openings with the Italian, but I'll be explaining them later. If you want to learn about gambits, about other more exciting stuff, just write it down below in the comments. Leave a like, please. And if you want now, we can play a game with the Italian. It was the computer, Stockfish Level 3. And let's see what they play. Okay, they're going to play the Italian. So we're playing against Stockfish. They can also use in the Italian bishop e7. It's not really a problem either, because you can still control the center and you have more access to the center. But right now, with bishop here, you can't develop your knight because, again, the plan of going to bishop g5 doesn't work, as the knight is defended by the bishop. So we just castle and we do our little plan. They're now attacking us, but they can't do a lot because this point is defended. The knight can't go here. So later on, we just attack the bishop and just hope to not hang anything, like Stockfish, and just play the game, I guess. So this is more or less how we play. If you want to see me play against real people in the Italian or other openings, just write it down below, please. I'll play. I'll try to upload every day, and I'll try to edit my videos so they're a little bit more interesting. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.